Walters will be open at 9 a.m. on Thursday, July 4th, ahead of the 11 a.m. holiday game. Make sure to swing by Walters before seeing James Wood and the Nats.
Nobody out. 2-1 Nationals. Bottom of the fifth. Irvin sets. Runner does go. The pitch is strike three called. The throw down. The tag by Garcia. He is out at second base. It is a strike him out, throw him out, double play. Siri caught looking, and Ruiz throws out Palacios with Garcia applying the tag. From a walk and a man on with nobody out, it's 2 out and nobody on.
Runners lead first and third. Armstrong fires. Swing a line drive, shallow center. That's falling. That's a base hit. One hop to Siri. Thomas held at third. Now scampers down the line to score. The throw into third is cut off. Winker stops at second. Luis Garcia delivers his third hit of the game. And the Nationals now lead it 5-1. They're out hitting the Rays 11-1. They have 3 big hits in this frame to deliver runs. 1-2 pitch. Swinging a line drive to left. That's down for a base hit. Ramirez will score. The Nationals keep on pouring it on. They lead 8-1. Ramirez scores. Ruiz second hit. 20th RBI for K-Bear. What an inning for the Nationals.
And welcome to Nats Chat for Sunday, June 30th, 2024, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who is at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. We have arrived at the final day of June. We have arrived at the final day of life for the Nats without James Wood at the major league level. And we've arrived at the end of the Nats' 4-game losing streak. Saturday, an 8-1 win at the Tampa Bay Rays in Game 2 of a 3-game series. The Nats for this regular season now 39-43. This was a game in which the Nats scored 8 runs and had 13 hits. 6 of the 8 runs and 7 of the 13 hits came in one inning, a 6-run 7th for the Nats. But, you know, as good as that top of the 7th was for the Nats, dare I say the biggest bright spot for the Nats may well have been the starting pitcher for the Nats. Jake Irvin, yet another strong outing. What a season Jake Irvin is putting together. You know, we know that there is the guy who, going into the season, you view as the team's best starting pitcher. And then there is the guy who, in the season, actually is the team's best starting pitcher. Sometimes the guy is the same guy. We can debate who was supposed to be the Nats' best starting pitcher going into this season. It was not Jake Irvin. But, Mark, he, to me, is the Nats' best starting pitcher this season. I don't even think it's really much of a conversation at this point. He was tremendous once again on Saturday.
Yeah, I think he has staked his claim to that title for now. And the reason is consistency. Mackenzie Gore at his best may be better, but Jake Irvin, start in and start out, has been doing this for 3 months now. And just look at what the totals are. It's enough of a sample now to be able to look at this and say, okay, how does he stack up with the best in the league? His ERA is 3.03. That's 9th best in the National League. The whip is 1.061, 7th best in the league. So it's not like he's getting himself into jams and having to get him out of it, or that the ERA is maybe misleading and not indicative of how well he's actually pitched. No, he has completely kept runners off base, and he's certainly kept them from scoring. And this is the stat I think that stands out the most. He's made 17 starts now. And in 11 of those 17, he's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs while pitching at least 6 innings. He's been able to give them some length, at least by today's 2024 standards of length, by throwing strikes and keeping it up as a start goes on. And very often, as was the case in this one, finishing strong and pitching better at the end than he did at the start. And you put that all together, you've got a guy who is made his case now as the team's best pitcher and one of the league's best pitchers as we get close to All-Star selection time.
He is a deserving All-Star selection. Whether he'll get it, who knows? Predicting All-Star selections is so whacked out sometimes. But to me, Jake Irvin and C.J. Abrams are the 2 most deserving Nationals players to be National League All-Stars this season. And it's so good to say that about both guys, but especially Irvin, given that, last season he was good, a nice surprise, but he wasn't like an All-Star. And this season, he's doing what the Nats All-Star last season, Josiah Gray, did, having a big-time step forward season. So Irvin in this 8-1 win at the Rays on Saturday, 1 run in 6 innings. He gave up just 1 hit, which was a 1-out solo homer by the University of Maryland product, Brandon Lau, to right center field on a 1-2 pitch to tie the game at 1 in the bottom of the first. The homer winner projected 405 feet per Statcast. And interestingly, came one pitch after a foul ball off the bat of Lau. Got stuck in a catwalk at Tropicana Field. If not for that, Lau probably would have been retired. It looked like Keeper Ruiz was going to catch that ball. And who knows what we're talking about with what Jake Irvin did on Saturday. Now, he did issue 3 walks, but he had 5 strikeouts, 96 pitches, 57 strikes, 39 balls. And how about this when it comes to the statistical profile of Jake Irvin now in this regular season? He has a team-best 17 starts. He has thrown a team-best 98 innings. We just crossed the numerical midpoint of the regular season. Jake Irvin is at 98 innings. He potentially could reach 200 innings pitched in this regular season if he stays healthy and continues to do as he is doing. 200 innings, that's like unthinkable these days with starting pitchers. And yet Jake Irvin is tracking along those lines right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was getting at. It's the consistency of not just success, but sustaining it and being efficient enough to go deep in games. He has not had those, he gets knocked out in the second or third inning. He has pretty much completed 5 innings in almost every outing, I think, except for 1, maybe 2, and more often than not gets you through the 6th as well. And so I think that's a huge development for them, for a young guy in this day and age, to not just think of yourself as a 5 and diver, but to be thinking 6+ innings, I think is outstanding. The sequence there with the catwalk and the home run, it was remarkable. I'm watching the whole thing. I'm looking for the ball and it just disappeared, never comes down. And you come here and you kind of try to learn the ground rules and you know something weird may happen. And sure enough, it did. It gets caught in one of those things. I'm absolutely believe Ruiz was going to make the catch. He was camped out right underneath where he thought the ball was going to land. The ground rule for that one is foul ball. And Jake himself kind of laughingly afterwards said his reaction to it was, well, I'm probably going to give up a home run now. And sure enough, the next pitch was a home run. Now, here's what I like, though. He responded to that really well. And I think we've seen this from him this year. The second anything maybe doesn't quite go right, he seems to get it right back on track very quickly. And as I said, is usually better at the end of his outings than he was at the start of it. That's a real sign of development and maturity to me, that he's not letting things go south on him when they start to go bad. I think Mackenzie Gore's done a pretty good job of that as well, but I think Jake Irvin has really done a good job of that, and that's helped him climb another level to become this pitcher that we're now seeing him become. That I liked what I saw from him in spring training. A lot of people did. Coming into the season, he wasn't getting as much attention as the others, but you thought, boy, if you want to read into spring training outings, he actually was their best guy in West Palm Beach. But I don't think anybody saw it happening to this extent and for it to be as consistent start to start as it's been.
No, and we never know with spring training stats, right? We're always sort of wrestling with that every March and early April of like, well, what does it mean that this guy in Grapefruit League play did this or did that? I don't know. Nobody knows. There are examples of the stats being meaningful. There are examples of the stats being totally meaningless. But yeah, Jake Irvin, what a bright spot. If you look at how he ranks among Nats starting pitchers in this regular season, if we don't include Trevor Williams, Irvin has the best ERA. Even if we do include Trevor Williams, Irvin has the best whip. I mean, he's doing just such a good job. And, as we have discussed, right, the Nats struggles to develop non-first round picks. Heck, the Nats struggles to develop players, period. That this guy is a non-first round pick is blossoming like this is so good and so encouraging. This is Irvin's age 27 season. He's a guy a bit older in terms of like a young starting pitcher, but man, he is really doing a good job as a 4th round pick in the 2018 MLB draft out of Oklahoma.
Are you looking for tickets to an upcoming event? That's why you should download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code NATSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. You get cheaper tickets and it helps the podcast a bit. Sounds like a smooth 6-4-3 double play. Again, create an account and redeem the code NATSCHAT for $20 off. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Finnegan sets. The kick, and here it comes. Swinging a drive to right center field, hit well. Thomas and Young. Can anyone get there? It's Young on the warning track to make the catch. And a Curly W's in the books. Finnegan was down on one knee on the mound, watching that as Jacob Young turned on the burners and runs it down in right center field. And the game is over. The Nationals have evened the series with a win apiece.
So Irvin was good in this game, and the Nats bullpen in this game. 3 Nats relievers combined for 3 scoreless innings with 6 swinging strikeouts. We saw dominance from the Nats bullpen in this game, and we also saw Hunter Harvey and Kyle Finnegan, despite the Nats winning by 7 runs. Derek Law tossed a scoreless bottom of the 7th with 3 swinging strikeouts. Hunter Harvey, a perfect bottom of the 8th with a swinging strikeout, and Kyle Finnegan, a scoreless and hitless bottom of the 9th. With 2 swinging strikeouts. The Nats don't have a scheduled off day until the All-Star break. What'd you think about Harvey and Finnegan pitching in this game?
That was the only part of it that made me a little bit nervous, because this is day 2 out of 17 in a row. And you would hate a couple days down the road for these appearances in a blowout game to come back to bite them. But that said, because of the way the game went on Friday, because of the way the game went on Wednesday in San Diego, neither of them had pitched in a little while. They had the off day in between as well. And the other guys, the lower leverage guys, had actually pitched quite a bit lately. So I think that maybe Rainey and Weems both were unavailable actually for this game, which isn't something that we've said very often. So I'm sure as it's playing out, it's a 2-1 game in the 7th inning, and you're thinking, okay, we're going to need all of our top guys, and just map it out that way, and then just stuck with what the plan was. So in a vacuum, I don't have an issue with it, because it had been a while and other guys had been pitching a lot. You just hope that the next couple of days don't play out in a manner in which you get to a spot and you say, oh boy, we need Hunter Harvey and Kyle Finnegan to close out this game, and oh, they're not available, and now somebody else has to pitch, and it costs them a game.
Especially with the next series being against the New York Mets. And not to walk down this path again of here comes a big series for the Nats, because the last time we did this, the Nats got swept at San Diego. But if you've been following the Mets, they've been playing so much better. The Mets now are very much a part of this jumbled National League wildcard mix. You'd like to have all your horses available for that series, and also the Cardinal series. St. Louis is very much in the wild card mix. So, yeah, we'll see if this ends up coming back to bite the Nats, but maybe not. We shall see. So the Nationals offense in this game, this was another one of these games in which if you're a Nats fan, you're watching this, you're frustrated, you're aggravated. The Nats are getting guys on base or doing nothing with these guys on base. And then came a 6-run top of the 7th. The Nats busted out and actually finished with some pretty good offensive numbers. 8 runs, 13 hits, 4 walks, 5 for 12 with runners in scoring position. The 13 hits were comprised of a home run, a triple, 2 doubles, and 9 singles. We had 5 different Nats in this game, each with at least 2 hits. A lot of guys who deserve some shine here, but I'd like to start with CJ Abrams. Man, is he having a heck of a month of June. I know we got on him on the last installment of the podcast for getting picked off, and justifiably so, but Abrams is hitting big time this month. Abrams on Saturday as the Nats starting shortstop and number 1 batter, 2 for 3 with a solo homer, an RBI double, and a walk. He and the Nats 1 run first, had a leadoff homer to right center field for a 1-0 Nats lead. Abrams in the top of the 3rd drew a leadoff walk. Abrams in the Nats 6-run 7th, an opposite field RBI double off the top of the left field wall. Here's what's interesting to me about CJ Abrams. So he had the great April, the bad May. He now is having a great June. His June is actually better than his April. The slash line for Abrams for the month of April, that was so good for him, 305, 371, 611. The slash line for Abrams now for this month of June, 370, 452, 667. He has been outstanding this month.
That's big time. I didn't realize it was that good even compared to April. And it makes you say, boy, if he had just been average in May, we'd be talking about guaranteed all-star berth and, some early MVP vote kind of conversation there we'd be having with him. So it's been great to see him bounce back that way. I mean, he was a couple inches away from hitting 2 home runs in this game. The great leadoff home run that sets the tone for the afternoon. But then the double in the 7th, it hit the yellow line on the top of the wall, couple inches, that clears the fence. And this was going to the opposite field. So that would have been something to see him do that, one to right, one to left. He just missed it. Also drew a walk in the game, which they want to see more of from him. He really, we talked about the pickoff and yeah, that is a thing that he's got to work on, but that's like a blip. Everything else has been so good for him over the last month and bigger picture over the course of the season to date. And it's been really good to see that he can bounce back from that bad month, turn it back on again, and be the complete superstar caliber player that we thought he was in April and that they believe he can be for over the life of his career.
I mentioned 5 Nats, each having at least 2 hits. Only one Nat had 3 hits in this game, and that Nat was Luis Garcia Jr. He is the Nats starting second baseman and number 5 batter. Got on base 4 times, 3 for 4 with a double, an RBI single, another single, and a walk. Garcia in the top of the first, a 2-out opposite field double to the left center field gap. Garcia in the Nats 1-run fourth, a leadoff first pitch single to right center field. Garcia top of the 6th, a 1-out walk despite having been down to the count at 1.12, and Garcia in that Nats 6-run 7th, a 1-out RBI single to center field on a 1-2 pitch for a 5-1 Nats lead. We've talked about Luis Garcia Jr. Got off to a good start, really has slowed down since then. His numbers for this season really aren't that good, but I tell you, every time you're ready to kind of write him off or say, all right, is he really a piece for the future? He'll do something like this and he'll go on a hot streak. And so he always seemingly does just enough to make you still interested, just enough to make you still think that there's something there. And I do think that there's something there. But I think what we've all grappled with for multiple seasons now is how much of a something is there. I would guess the Nats internally grapple with that too. Like, is he a true piece moving forward, or is he just kind of a holding place guy and he's not going to be here when the Nats are truly very good?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if we really know the answer to that, but you're right. He has staved off elimination several times along the way with these kind of bounce back performances. And this was one of his best of the season. Drawing a walk, again, another guy they want to see more of that from. Hitting the ball with authority to the gaps, that was good. And honestly, my favorite part of this game from him was the way he stole home, essentially. It was a wild pitch officially. He's on third base. There's a ball in the dirt that just barely gets away from the catcher, and it rolled towards the pitcher's mound, not behind the plate. He was on top of that. And talking to him afterwards, you understood and appreciated the thought process that went into it all. So it begins with getting a good initial lead. It also begins with seeing that the catcher is down on a knee, as so many guys are doing right now. And in your mind, you say, okay, that's going to take that extra split second for him to hop up and try to get a ball that gets away from him. So he gets a good initial lead, sees the catcher's down on a knee, gets a good secondary lead, and the moment the ball scoots away, he goes for it. And we've talked so much about their aggressive base running and how it has come back to haunt them at times. This was an example where he had to be decisive and aggressive like he was in order to score that run on a very unconventional wild pitch. And I give him a lot of credit, not just for the athleticism to score the run, but the preparation and putting himself in position to do that when just taking the kind of conventional lead or the lazier approach to that would never have happened. He had to do everything right leading up to the moment and then take advantage of it when it happened.
And that is an example of good base running by the Nats, so we applaud them when they do that. Garcia's having himself a nice series. He on Friday evening, 1 for 4 with a single, had a stolen base, and the single came at the conclusion of a 12-pitch plate appearance. We didn't talk about this, but top of the 4th on Friday evening, Garcia 1-out single to center to conclude a 12-pitch plate appearance in which he was down at 1.12.
The best way to learn a language? Immersion. Living where the language is spoken and using it every day. But if that's not in the cards this year, you could still learn a language the second best way, and that's with Babbel. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are handcrafted by over 200 language experts to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Here's a special deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners for a limited time at babbel.com/natschat. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/natschat. That's spelled BABBEL.com/natschat. Rules and restrictions may apply. Here's your report from Rochester for the game played on Saturday. James Wood and Dylan Cruz not in the lineup. Wood still on track reportedly to join the Nats in D.C. on Monday. Rough start, by the way, for Jackson Rutledge. Only 3 innings on the mound, gave up 7 hits, allowed 7 earned runs, walked 3 guys, struck out 2. His ERA on the season, 6.82. Now back to the show.
Here's Ramirez. First pitch to Harold is hit in the air toward right center field. This one toward the gap. Bitt's going to get down, split the outfielders, and go all the way to the fence. Winker scores. Garcia's coming around third. He's going to score. Ramirez to third, slides in with a triple. Ramirez doing the shimmy shake at third, a 2-run triple against his former team, and the Nationals busted wide open. They lead 7-1. What a big hit there for Harold Ramirez, the X-Ray.
So, as many of you listening probably know, there are multiple connections between the Nats and the Rays. Davey Martinez has an extensive history with the Rays. Jim Hickey was with the Rays for a long time. And now the Nats have Harold Ramirez. The Tampa Bay Rays on June 7th designated Ramirez for assignment. Then on June 13th released Ramirez. The Nats on June 15th announced having agreed to terms on a minor league contract with Ramirez and promoted him from AAA Rochester this past Monday. Harold Ramirez on Saturday was the Nats starting DH and number 6 batter. He went 2 for 5 with a 2-run triple and a single. Ramirez in the top of the 6th, a 1-out opposite field single through the right side of the infield despite having been down to the count at 1.12. And Ramirez in that Nats 6-run 7th, a 1-out first pitch opposite field 2-run triple to the right center field gap for a 7-1 Nats lead. A, that triple made the game in the inning a laugher, but B, that had to have felt real good for Harold Ramirez.
Yeah, well, did you see his reaction when he got to third base? He is fully ingrained himself with the Nationals and the way they celebrate hits on the bases with the hip shake and pelvic thrust, let's say. He definitely was enjoying it. The crowd here, very supportive of him when he came up to bat each time. The Rays players were all joking around with him. It sounds like he really was a well-liked member of this team the last few years, and probably some people upset to see him let go the way that he was. That was nice to see. Now, we've kind of known that the plan with him was to have him start mostly against lefties or come off the bench to face a lefty. He got the start in this game, though, against a righty. And I wondered if it's a combination of things. Number one, Eddie Rosario, as much as he's struggled. But number two, you got to start finding out what this guy can do for you. And you're not just going to be able to pick and choose who he faces and only have him go up against lefties. So I was glad to see him get the start, get 5 good at-bats under his belt. And maybe that now helps him down the road when he does start getting starts against lefties, that he doesn't feel like he's just been cold on the bench all the time. So it seems like he's been welcomed into the clubhouse very much so. And it's nice to see him now also perform on the field.
He's not a bad hitter. He was having a bad season with Tampa Bay. If you look at his history, especially the previous 2 seasons, he actually can hit pretty well. So to me, he's a guy who could end up helping the Nats. We'll see. The other 2 Nationals players who each had 2 hits in this game, Lane Thomas and Keibert Ruiz. Thomas as the Nats starting right fielder and number 2 batter, 2 for 4 with 2 singles and a walk. And Keibert, a multi-hit game for him. He is the Nats starting catcher and number 7 batter, 2 for 4 with an RBI single and another single. It was Keibert Ruiz who capped the 6-run 7th, the 1-out opposite field RBI single to left field on a 1-2 pitch for an 8-1 Nats lead. By the way, watching the Rays reliever Shawn Armstrong just get destroyed in that 6-run 7th, I couldn't believe that the Rays just kept him in the game like that. Did you have the same reaction I did? I was like, how is this guy still in the game with the Nats basically engaging in batting practice against Armstrong?
I think it happened so fast. It was a lot of fastballs, a lot of quick counts and quick hits that maybe there wasn't even enough time for the next guy to get warmed up. Or it was just Kevin Cash saying, all right, this game's already getting out of hand. Let's just make him wear it. Although he didn't finish the inning, they did have to make the move to get 2 more outs from the inning. That inning was so remarkable. Up to that point, they are, for the game, they're 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. And for the series, they're 0 for 12. With runners in scoring position. And then in that one sequence alone, they go 5 for 6 with runners in scoring position, and it just turned into an onslaught. This felt like a tight, tense game that was going to come down to bullpens. And that one sequence there in the 7th inning completely changed the direction of the game, the kind of inning that obviously we have wanted to see more from this team. And you hope it's not a one-off, that they have another one of those in them maybe on Sunday.
Well, and only the Nats could have a 6-run inning without hitting a home run. Now, Abrams did homer early in the game, but how often does that happen? A team has a 6-run inning without hitting a homer. But that's Nationals baseball in 2024. And hey, 6 runs are 6 runs no matter how you get to them. So the Nats can win this series. We have Game 3 at the Rays Sunday afternoon at 1:40. Patrick Corbin will be the Nats starting pitcher. So a few things. He's been pitching well lately. Each of his last 3 starts, he's done a good job. We've talked about that. We've also been having this conversation of, well, when Josiah Gray comes back, who is Gray going to replace in the rotation, Corbin or DJ Hers? It turns out, we found this out late last work week, Gray's making another minor league rehab start. This is the minor league rehab assignment that refuses to end. We thought 2 starts ago it might be done. Then he makes another start, and now we find out that he's making another start. So who knows when this is going to be over? He did pretty well in the last start. Do you know what the Nats are wanting to see? Do you know what the concern is here with Josiah Gray?
He's not just making one more start, Al. They've left open the door for another one after that. Now, he went 6 innings. It was really effective. I think pitch count was in the 70s, maybe 73. And so when I asked Davey about it the other day, he said they'd like him to get, expand a little more, maybe get 7 ups and top 90 pitches. It's not the kind of thing you typically see in a rehab assignment, especially for an established big league starter like this. But I think deep down, it's a couple of things. One, the first of them didn't go as well. I think they liked what they saw in the last one and want to make sure that he maintains that in terms of his mechanics and just the quality of his pitches. I think it's also Patrick Corbin we talked about staving off elimination with Garcia. Patrick Corbin has done that his last 3 starts. If he has some duds along the way, I think they already make the move and bring Gray back. But the fact that he has pitched better keeps buying him more time. We thought maybe the DJ Hers outing in San Diego could be the kind of the end of the road for him, but it looks like he will get another one here against the Mets before they have to make a decision on him. So I think deep down, there's a little bit of feeling among the Nationals that, yeah, Josiah Gray had a good rehab start, but the last time we saw him in big league games, it was really ugly before he got hurt. And at the moment, are they 100% sure that he's better than whatever else they have out there? Now, in the bigger picture, you got to bring him back. You got to give him a chance to show what he can do when he's healthy and figure out how he fits into this long term. But I do think there's this weird situation at the moment where deep down, they're not 100% sure what he's going to be when he comes back. And when the other guy, the most likely guy to lose the job in his place, has actually pitched well a few times, and we're approaching July and a trade deadline, I think there's a temptation there to say, let's ride Corbin until he pitches his way out of it, which I think most of us know is probably going to happen at some point anyways, right?
Well, and that's the thing. And that's one of the points I was going to make. Number one, you get out while the getting's good, okay? Do you really think this is going to continue with Patrick Corbin? He's done a good job, but let's not push our luck here with Corbin stringing together these impressive starts. But specific to Josiah Gray, he made 2 starts, and then he got hurt. So, are they really that bothered by 2 bad starts? I mean, are they really going to put that much stock into 2 bad starts, especially when it turned out that he was ailing, he was injured, right elbow / right forearm flexor strain? How do they know with certainty that the injury wasn't why he struggled over those first 2 starts of this regular season? To say nothing of, oh, by the way, he was an all-star last season. Now, I know some of the peripherals weren't great, but he still had a very nice season last season. Does that not count for anything? I am surprised by this, that they don't seem to be in any rush to have him back in the majors. The guy who, in theory, was their number 1 starting pitcher coming into this season, they don't seem that interested in bringing him back. This is something.
It is a weird situation. Yeah, definitely. I think there could be some, I don't know for sure, but maybe what they saw, we see the numbers from the minor league starts, maybe what they were seeing, the type of pitches, the shape of pitches, the peripherals and everything made them say, maybe he could use a little more fine tuning here. Certainly the last one, everyone had good things to say about it. Maybe they just want to see it happen again, but it is strange. And I do think in a broader sense right now, I'm sure we're going to have this conversation a lot over the next month. There's a little bit of back and forth right now between what exactly is the goal right now? What are the Nationals trying to do? Are they trying to win right now because they think there's a wild card race that they could get into it? Are they thinking, no, we're still in full scale rebuild mode? Are they prioritizing showcasing players who could be traded at the deadline? Are they more focused on building up the young core and getting as much out of those guys as they can as they build towards next year? I think they're being pulled in a lot of different directions right now, and there may not be a whole lot of clarity at this moment as to what direction they really are going and how they're approaching the rest of this season. I think this next month is going to be fascinating because it's going to go a long way toward answering those questions of, are they trying to win right now? Are they not trying to win right now? Are they trying to identify future pieces? Are they trying to get the most out of their veterans? I'm not sure they're all on the same page, or not even entirely sure where this is going to go a month from now.
Well, this is where your leader of baseball operations needs to be a leader, Mike Rizzo. He needs to establish what he wants to do, set forth the vision and abide by that vision. So we'll see. It's funny. It was July 2021 that determined the course for years for the Nats. And it could be July 2024 that determines the course of the Nats the rest of this season in terms of how to approach this season. We'll see. But tune in to see if Patrick Corbin makes it 4 consecutive impressive starts as the Nats try to win this series at the Rays. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website you can check out as well, natschatpodcast.com, in which you can buy a Nats Chat podcast t-shirt. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. Nats Chat is on the radio Sunday morning 9 to 10 on ESPN Richmond, which is 106.1 FM in the Richmond, Virginia area, and Sunday morning 9 to 10 on Priority Sports Radio 94.1 in the Virginia Beach area. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat podcast.
2 balls, no strikes. Here's the 2-0 pitch line. It's a base hit into center field. Cook is up with it around third. Hitting home is Hassel. The throw, the slide. He's safe. He's around the tag. James Wood hits another rocket. 114 miles an hour into center field.